Right, what we have here is the mythical ice wall that surrounds the entire Earth, and they don't exactly tell us how this ice wall is melting. How can it melt? Because it's so far away from all the rest of the nations, and the sun never gets there. If you look at the flat Earth model, you know, the sun just goes to about South America in their model, which is very stupid because it doesn't add up. Because in the South Pole they get almost 24 hours light in our winter time. You know, our winter months is light, and then in the north it's dark. The northern hemisphere and the real map of the world, spherical map of the world. But in their map, the sun sort of travels round the centre of the world, where most of the nations are, and then when the northern nations get the winter time, you see the sun sort of migrating to the southern hemisphere in the flat Earth. So it only goes to about the tip of South America and sort of South Australia, but it never really goes all the way to where the ice wall is. So that alone should tell people that model at least is wrong. I'm not hating people when I say that, you know, Rob Skiba is 100% shill. Well, I mean, 101%. You know what I'm saying? You don't lose any money on that if you had to bet your entire life on that. You know. So again, there's no evidence that it's a flat Earth to start with, but the flat Earth model does not work. It's not logical when you think about it. There's so many flaws in it, so many holes in it. And I'll tell you another flaw in the flat Earth model. Why aren't flat earthers liberals? Why do flat earthers pretend to be like conservative, you know, right-wing Christians and all of that? Why do they pretend to be that when all the liberals are concerned about global warming? Now, if this ice wall melts, then all the sea in the world is just going to go over the side. There's going to be no more sea left in the world. So why aren't the flat earthers campaigning against global warming? Why don't you see them really? I mean, that's the logical thing you would do if you were a true flat earther and you worked everything out in your head and you're like, that's definitely a flat earth. And if the ice wall melts, it's the end of the world. There's no more sea left on the earth. Yeah? Literally. There's never, you know, like the seas are just going to like go over the side, like a dinner plate. If you're just, you know, if you tip a dinner plate, there's no walls. You know, like a soup plate at least has a little bit of walls at the side to keep the water in. But a dinner plate doesn't, and the dinner plate is their model. One of the best videos I've watched recently concerning the spherical Earth, the flat Earth, and the concave Earth is done by, I think it's Woodward TV. I think it was Woodward TV. He did an excellent video explaining the fact that all three are correct. The fact that the way the Earth is actually shaped, it's like almost a flat globe. You know, that the top of it is almost flat, and the bottom part of the globe is, again, it curves quite sharply and it's almost flat in the southern hemisphere. And then what you probably have is the inner Earth, where the north and south poles curve inwards. And so it does look concave if you're looking at it either from the north or southern hemisphere, you know. And I think it's something like 500 million square miles is the length of the land in the North Pole, and it's the exact same as the the Arctic Sea as well has the exact same amount of mileage. So it's rather interesting statistic, you know, and the fact that, again, another statistic is that the flat earthers say that the sun and the moon are the same size. Well, how can the sun eclipse the moon then if they're the same size? You know, they don't think about that. If they're the exact same size, you know, if the sun's behind the moon, surely the sun's got to be slightly bigger than the moon in order for us to where we see it in our projection, then they're the same size. But they say that the sun and the moon are exactly the same size. As in, if you've got like tissue paper, maybe they think they're made from tissue paper or something like that, because they'd have to be, because otherwise the sun would have to be bigger to form a perspective and a shadow and all that stuff. You know, the real scientists talk about, you know. So what you really got to work about if you're a flat earther, you got to work out what NASA is lying about. You know, there's an awful lot of pictures being taken by satellites. Obviously, a lot of them are being changed and doctored and airbrushed and different things. You got to work out the reason why they're doing that first of all. And probably anyone with half a brain would say, well, it's because there are structures on these spheres, the sun, moon, and Mars, and all that. They've found structures on there, so they don't want people to see them, so they airbrush them out. What the flat earther would say is, oh, there's no such thing as demons in space. Demons can't get into space, or fallen angels. Where do they come from then? Even the Bible says that they've fallen from heaven to earth, or the heavens to the earth. Right? So where did they come? They came directly from heaven, and then they fell down to the third heaven, which is like the planets and galaxies and all that, which you can see with a telescope. And you know, and then they eventually fell down here, and then it says that these angels married the human women, and also talked about a high technology during Noah's day, and you know, spoken about the recent things in the past 50, 100 years that science has prospered, or the craft has prospered in the hands of the King of the North. So that the northern nations, America and so on, UK, have become very technologically advanced through following after these false fallen angels and demons. Anyway, I'm going off the subject. What this is about is the wall surrounding the flat earth, and now if that wall melts, then you can wave goodbye to all the seas of the earth: the Pacific, North and South Pacific, Atlantic Ocean, Great China Sea, Indian Ocean, all these Arctic oceans. You can just wave goodbye to them all, because if that wall melts, then that's it. So get campaigning, flat earthers. Why are you wasting your time making videos about the flat earth? You should be out campaigning against global warming. Go and join some extreme left-wing liberal party right now and save the world.